So it doesn't matter where you're from. Who here is from, raise your hand if you're from Fulton County, if you live in Fulton County. All right, DeKalb? Anybody in Cobb? All right, a little bit out. Did I miss anybody? Okay. So if you are arrested on this campus and you committed a felony, what jail are y'all going to? You commit a felony, where are you going? Rice Street Jail. Anybody heard of the Rice Street Jail? It's where they originally took Thug and his buddies before they ended up in Cobb. The Rice Street Jail is the Fulton County Jail. That is where the guy died and he was eaten by bed bugs last year. They kill about 6 to 7 people a year in the Fulton County Jail. It's one of the worst jails in the country. Feel free to Google it when you get home. That is where they will take you because all of you are 17. The Fulton County Jail. Yeah. It's Rice Street is what we call it. Yeah, do not recommend. Okay. If you commit a misdemeanor, you're going to go to Sandy Springs Jail. Sandy Springs doesn't actually have a jail, so they are renting space at Smyrna. So you'll go to Smyrna, and that's where you get bonded out of. I just want y'all to know that because there is not a special holding cell for the boys from Mount Vernon. All right. You are in there with my gangbangers, my drug dealers, occasionally my murderers. But I just want you to understand that as we go through and talk about this stuff. So where are the top 3 reasons that you're going to encounter the cops? School, cars, parties. School is easy. I'm going to make this really clear to you, and stop me if the cops have already talked to y'all about this shit. You have to be a special kind of stupid to commit a crime on a school campus. It is the dumbest place to commit a crime other than the jail, where my inmates tend to stab each other on video. But here is a bad place because number 1, cameras everywhere. Number 2, teachers whose job it is to spy on you and rat you out, and snitches. Every school's got them. Your classmates who will rat you out for their own pleasure. Okay? The other problem we have with school is double the punishment. So if you get caught on school campus, let's say with drugs, not only are you facing school suspension, expulsion, all of that, you're also facing the criminal justice system in Fulton County. So here we are in Fulton County, you will end up dealing with the Fulton County Superior Court. So if you're going to commit a crime, probably not a school campus, just so I'm telling you right now. And this goes for the same when you go to college, same situation. All right, so I will tell you the most common issues, and I'm trying to go through this stuff fast with y'all. Alcohol, drugs, and sex-related offenses. This is why teenage boys and college kids end up in my office. All right, we'll skim through the quick stuff. And I will tell you this, and we'll follow up with it in a minute. But one of you, hold on, baby. One of your classmates is going to commit a felony tomorrow on the school campus if they're not doing it right now. And we'll talk about that in a minute. What was your question, babe? Here, in general, drugs. You mean Atlanta schools?
In general, in Georgia.
I would say drugs is probably the biggest problem. When you go into the Atlanta public school system, they got all sorts of problems. My kids, by the way, went to Riverwood. I got one kid who graduated from Tulane. She's in law school now at Kentucky. And my son is a junior at Texas A&M. All right, alcohol. What's your name, hon? Zach. Zach, you are walking down the street with a 6-pack of beer. You are stone cold sober when the cops roll up on you. Have you committed a crime? What have you committed? Minor in possession of alcohol, MIP. Excellent. Does it matter whether or not you're stone cold sober? Right. Because in Georgia, it doesn't matter if you've consumed it. It's about possession. This goes for drugs too. All right. I'm now going to teach you something that law students in Georgia don't understand in their first year. We're going to pretend that this is vodka. It is not. I wish it were, but it is not. If I am holding it in my hand and I am under 21, this is easy for the cops, right? This is what we call actual possession. It's in my hands. Ta-da! Not that difficult. Second issue. I'm at a party. This is my vodka. I'm under 21. This is my bag. It's in my bag. And I'm over here when the cops bust into the party, but it's way over there. Can I be arrested for it?
It's in your bag, yeah.
Right, because I have what's called constructive possession. Constructive just means I can exert control over it. It's my stuff. I decide what happens to it. Therefore, I have possession of it, all right? Third kind. we are at a party. Nobody has alcohol right in front of them, but the vodka bottle's in the middle of the table. The three of us are sitting around the party when the cops bust in, they're on the table. Who's going to jail? All three of us. Joint possession. Third kind of possession. More than one person can possess a single thing. This vodka bottle could belong to all of us, so we're all going to jail. Why does this matter? There's also the combination of joint and constructive, meaning it's not in our hands and we can all be responsible for it. Cars. Console, glove compartment, under the passenger seat, trunk. I got a lot of guys who are not allowed to have guns anymore because they're convicted felons. And they get pulled over and they put the gun, like an idiot, under their seat, which is, by the way, the first place the cops look. So they all go to jail. One gun, 4 guys in the car. They're all going to jail over the gun. Okay? Why does that matter to y'all? Not really guns, but drugs. You're in a car with somebody who's got something in his console. You can go to jail for it. We can fight about it later. All right. Alcohol. Let's talk about DUI really fast, because this is for some reason why a lot of y'all end up in my office. There's 2 ways to go to jail, or 2 ways to be convicted of DUI in Georgia. The punishment's the same. They're just 2 roads to the same finish line. All right. One is called DUI less safe. That means they don't know what your blood alcohol level is, but they've got you driving badly. You failed the field sobriety tests. Your blood, or your eyes are bloodshot. You know, your breath smells like alcohol. There's empties in the car. So that's avenue number 1. Avenue number 2 is called DUI per se. Per se just means on its own. It's just Latin. It means if they have your blood alcohol content and it's over a certain limit, they gotcha. I'm 54 years old. I'm over 21. My blood alcohol level would have to be 0.08 or higher. Everybody always asks me, how can you tell if I'm 0.08? I don't know. I'm not a wizard. I don't know when somebody's 0.08. It depends on what you had to drink, how fast, what's in your stomach, your metabolism, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea. Does anybody know what it is for somebody under 21 in Georgia? 0.02. Half a beer, right? 0.02 is very easy to achieve. Very, very easy to achieve. Did the police officers also tell you that DUI never comes off your record ever, 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 ever? Doesn't matter if you're under 21. Doesn't matter if you have a fabulous lawyer. Doesn't matter if you've never been convicted. It cannot be erased by first offender, youthful offender, conditional discharge. It carries on your record forever. So in this day and age, I would argue that DUI is possibly one of the stupidest things you can do. Because, damn, you got a lot of questions tonight. What's this one? He's lying. He might have gotten it reduced to reckless, but he did not get it removed. I promise you. I'm impressed by your question. Absolutely not. But I will. We can have, you guys can fight it out in the parking lot afterwards. I'd be happy to watch. All right. So we now know that a 0.02 will get your license suspended, and it'll get you a DUI that you can never get rid of. So can we take Lyft and Uber? Maybe. I'm just telling you, it's not that hard. All right. Everybody, anybody here 18? Oh, damn. Everybody get rid of their Class D license and make it a Class C? Oh, okay, my friends. When you got your driver's license, you got what's called a Class D. Look on your license. Does it say Class D as in David? Because if it does, that means you have a midnight curfew according to the law of Georgia. There should be something on there that says license class D or C. If it says D, you guys have a curfew of midnight. You may not drive by law after midnight. But when you turn 18, you can go online and switch it to a Class C. So I recommend you do that when you get home. Yes, sweetie. I think you can do it online. I don't know if you have to go in and do it. I'm telling you, you want to get rid of that. You want to get rid of that because what do cops like more than donuts? Cars full of teenage boys. All right. All right. Now listen up, because this is important. I'm about to make you guys very happy when you learn this. A cop can pull you over and search your car if he wants to. Period. Let me talk to you about why. Just let me get to it there. If a cop wants to pull you over, he sees you guys go by and there's like 10 guys in the car. He knows there's some shit going on. All right. He's not stupid. So what is he going to do? He's going to get behind you and he's going to wait for the driver to screw up. Is the driver going to screw up? Yes, because all of us are crappy drivers. When you drive home today or tomorrow morning or whatever, I want you to pay attention to the line that goes along the road that's between the curb and like where you drive. It's called a fog line. And then you got your lane line. If the wheels of your car just cross over for a moment, that's failure to maintain lane. You don't make a full stop, count to 3, which, by the way, nobody does. And you don't stop behind the white line that comes out from the stop sign is called a chalk line. If you don't stop behind that chalk line for 3 seconds, he's got you. Can he pull you over for going 1 mile over the speed limit? Yes, he can. So my point is this. Do cops do this? Sweetie, you and I are going to have a problem. All right. I promise you, you can ask as many questions as you want. But let me get through all this crap first, okay? Because you ask good questions. All right. So he's going to wait till you screw up and he's going to pull you over, right? And then he's going to walk up to the window and he's going to say, I smell marijuana. Have y'all been smoking in here? Why does he say that? Because probable cause doesn't matter. First of all, yes. Can you prove a smell on body cam? Hell no. Are his buddies, the other cops that show up later, going to back him up when he says he smelled weed? Of course. That's what they do. In Georgia, under the law, in a car, not talking about houses, but in a car, if an officer smells marijuana, that is all the probable cause he needs to search the car and everything in it. Number 1, he's going to tell you to get out of the car. By the way, whether he smells weed or not, if a cop tells you to get out of the car, get out of the fucking car. All right? Not the time to have a fight with a cop. All right? If he asks for your ID, give it to him. All right? This stuff is not hard. Anything else you think he's violating your 4th Amendment rights, please, for the love of God, do not say to a cop, I know my rights. That's how you go to jail. Also, don't say, I know a lawyer. That's also not a good way to start off a conversation with a cop. But my point is this, do what the cop says. Later on, if the cop screws up that body camera, you look good on it, the cop looks bad, that makes my job really fun, okay? So cop tells everybody to get out of the car, he searches everything. What happens if he doesn't find any weed? Well, if he finds other shit, he can arrest you for that. It doesn't matter whether or not he ever finds any weed. If he finds nothing, all he's managed to do is embarrass you, go through your crap, and then he sends you on the way, okay? So believe me, when you are in a car with a whole bunch of people, you better be damn sure there's nothing in there you don't want the cops to see, because if they want to see it, they will. Yeah. Your dash cam or the cops? Yeah, absolutely. I do know a lot of people, especially criminal defense lawyers like me, who have seen bad shit happen that have dash cam now. All right, let's move on. Really quickly, I always say this to people, but you know, vaping, you got to be 21. It's a misdemeanor in Georgia, even with like regular stuff. You got to be 21. Have I ever seen somebody get tagged for vaping? No, but in another county, I do know somebody who got cited for it. So I'm just throwing that out there. Let's talk about drugs. Okay. Remember I said that somebody is going to commit a felony on your school? They're probably committing it right now. THC, vape cartridges, oil, all of that stuff is a felony in Georgia. Even a vape cartridge that has been used. If it's got residue that can be tested by the GBI, they gotcha. It's a felony. So any of your buddies that have it in their car, do you guys have lockers? Is that like a thing? Okay. Whatever those things are. In your book bag, in your car, it's a felony. And if you're parking on the campus with it, we've already talked about how stupid that is. So somebody is committing a felony likely right this minute on this campus. Here is the good way to remember the drug laws in Georgia. Super simple. Leafy green marijuana, the shit that looks like oregano. I don't even know if your generation has ever seen such a thing, but it exists. Less than an ounce of leafy green marijuana is a misdemeanor in Georgia. Everything else is a felony. See how easy that was? Now, you will hear people say, oh, it's legalized in some places in Georgia. That is not true. There are a few cities where it has been decriminalized, meaning they're not going to put you through the criminal justice system. They're going to take it. They're going to fine you. But if you are under 21, I'm just telling you right now, based on all the things that I have seen, that if you are caught with less than an ounce of marijuana, even if the cops don't ding you for that, they're going to ding you for something else. And that is not true, by the way, in Sandy Springs. It's not lawful in Sandy Springs. We're talking city of Atlanta, within the confines of the city. So I would not play that game. But again, we're only talking about leafy green marijuana, less than an ounce. You go over an ounce, 1 to 10 years in prison in Georgia. 1 to 10. Georgia is ass backwards when it comes to drugs. Everybody knows this. It is just insane. Does that mean that you could get probation? Yeah, it does, but you're going to be treated through Rice Street Jail. Remember we talked about dying from being eaten by bed bugs? I strongly recommend you look that up. Okay, so edibles. This is really important. Y'all, in Georgia, they weigh the whole edible. So you know how when you get in trouble and you have a little bit of drugs, you have this much punishment. When you have this much drugs, you get more punishment, et cetera, et cetera. This is by weight, okay? You can't weigh the THC in a brownie, because how do you pull the THC out of the brownie, right? Flour, chocolate, all that crap's in there too. They weigh the whole brownie. My client got pulled over for a traffic infraction. Cop walks up to her window and says, "Why?" And he wants to do what? Correct. So he searches, by the way, in her case, he totally did smell marijuana. She reeked of it. But he got into her backpack lawfully, and she had a Rice Krispie treat edible that she had not eaten. Does it matter that she hadn't eaten it? Because it's possession, not consumption, right? One edible Rice Krispie treat weighed so much, she was facing 1 to 15 years in prison because they weigh the whole edible. So I do not recommend edibles being used in Georgia because you immediately jump to major felony potential, okay? All right, one more thing, just about drug tests, y'all. I know that you guys get drug tested. Marijuana is super, super sticky. THC is super sticky. For my clients that use a lot of weed, we're talking 60 days to get clean. And when you are drug tested, it's not like the yes or no, you know, it's not like pregnant, not pregnant. They do a number, and it is highly sensitive, okay? So if you are drug tested on probation and those kinds of things, weed is your worst enemy. It is super sticky. For someone that's a light user, minimum of 30 days, all right? So I'm just telling you, I have more really good, sweet clients who for some reason cannot stop using THC, and that's what puts them in jail every single time because they can't stop smoking. All right, let's talk about the really depressing shit really quick. Okay, so for the longest time in my job, we worried about coke and heroin. That was a big problem we had with people your age. And then about, God, it's almost 10, well, not quite 10 years ago, I got a call from somebody I work with who asked if I had ever heard of gray death. Never heard of it in my life. She said that they had a guy that had some stuff under his car, and the cops were disassembling the car in hazmat suits. That's how we learned about fentanyl for the first time. For whatever reason, your generation seems to think that pills are the way to go. So hear me when I tell you this. Someone you know, potentially someone in this room, is going to die before they are 25. If you make it to 25 without knowing someone who died of an overdose, that is a goddamn miracle. Period. I've never been wrong. I got to age 21 before somebody I knew died of an overdose. My daughter had somebody she knew at her prom overdose on the front lawn of a prom party. He lived. And then somebody died at Tulane over it. Fentanyl is in the pills. If you imagine, well, let me start with this. I don't know. I mean, it's always in my office, it seems like it's always Xanax and Percocet. I know there's others out there. This applies to everything. Y'all have to understand something. When someone gets a prescription for Xanax or Percocet, do you know what they do with it? They take it, okay? There is a minuscule number of people who get these drugs and sell them. 99.999% of them take it. So the pills that you get that look real, by the way, they look so real, the cops can't tell them apart. The GBI who tests them can't tell them apart. They got to test them to find out. It looks real. But what they don't understand is it's fake. They look real because that's what allows drug dealers to sell them. But they are full of fentanyl. In fact, right now, we're on the high side of about 40% of the pills out there have fentanyl in them. Okay, why does that matter? If you imagine a single grain of salt one little tiny grain of salt. 2 or 3 grains of salt get you high. 4, 5, 6 kill you instantly. Okay. I had a client who is a drug trafficker. Y'all need to understand Atlanta is a hub for drug trafficking because of the way the highway system is coming up from Texas, coming up from Florida. It's all coming right through here. Right now, as we sit here, my clients are trafficking huge amounts of drugs through the interstate. Okay. They come here, they can process it here. They send it up to Philly and New York. It goes everywhere. All right. I had a client that rented an Airbnb in Cobb County to press Percocets. They have a press that looks exactly like real Percocets. Him and his buddies were doing this. They were also getting high on the Percocets and the fentanyl while they were doing it, which is never a good idea. They got so high, they forgot to check out of the Airbnb. So the landlord comes, knocks on the door. They give her some shit. She gets pissed. She calls the cops. Now my guy who is high and has a shit ton of pills, illegal pills, is panicking, all right? So they go out into the driveway. They are trying to pack everything, the pill press, everything into the car. The driveway has a slanted driveway that goes down to the road. My guy has a rolling suitcase full of pills and he lets go of it. It starts rolling down the hill. So he's chasing it when the cops roll up. So that dumbass is caught running after a rolling suitcase full of illegal drugs. So he went to prison. But my question to you is, why does that matter? Do you trust that guy to make sure that he only put 3 grains of fentanyl in your pill and not 4? Because the way it works is this. Even if you've taken them before and been fine, not relevant. Every pill is different because they're fake, y'all. And if the 3 of us, I know you guys are so regretting where you sat, the 3 of us all take pills, you 2 take 1 and I take 1, you guys are high, I drop dead on the floor. That's how fentanyl works. And even though yours was fine and yours was fine, mine was not. Even if last time you took it, we all had a good time and everything was fine, the next time 2, 3 people can die. That's how fentanyl works. So I'm just trying to tell you this because eyeballing it ain't gonna help. And thinking, well, it happened before, or I took it before and it was fine, it doesn't matter. The guy next to me took it and was fine, it doesn't matter. If y'all make it to 30, even 25 without anybody you know or have heard of dropping dead from an overdose, give me a call. No one's ever called me to tell me that. All right, so I represent drug dealers. This is flour, I promise, but this is roughly the same size as a kilo, okay? My client got caught with a kilo of pure fentanyl in his car in Cobb County. How many people can this kill? 500,000 people, all right? How do I know all of this? Because I was his lawyer. Where does he get it? He picks it up at the Mexican border in Texas and drives it up here, okay? They sell it, they send the money to California to buy guns, and the guns go back to Mexico. This is cartel shit, okay? It is happening here in Atlanta. So my client was gonna go to prison for 15 years. He's from Cobb County, by the way, was gonna play soccer in college, hurt himself, ended up in a very bad place. His family lives in Cobb County. He was looking at 15 years in prison, or he could help the cops do what? Right. How many years did my client take? Who said 15? Why? The cartel wouldn't kill him. Who would they kill? His family lives in Cobb. He took 15 years on the chin because he didn't want his family to die. This is here in Atlanta. Why does this affect you? Well, let's play a game. We'll go over here because I've been picking on y'all enough. Excellent. All right. So you buy your weed or your pills. Let's go with pills. You buy your pills from some guy at Georgia Tech. I always like picking on Georgia Tech because I went to Georgia.
Go back to that table.
Are you going to Tech? Don't deal drugs. Okay. You, right. Well, good. See, there's hope for you. You buy your pills from some guy at Georgia Tech, right? You get caught on school campus with pills and the cops come. What do they want to know from you? Right. So they go to Georgia Tech and they talk to that kid. That kid buys his shit from this guy. Okay. So this guy gets arrested. I'm his lawyer. This happens every day, by the way, y'all. They want to put this guy away for a long, long time. They're going to get a Cobb County jury, and this prosecutor wants this guy to look really bad, right? He's selling drugs to sweet little boys in private school. These are your children. So how are they going to prove that he sells drugs to sweet little boys in private school? What are they going to do? You're going to be a witness. And so is Georgia Tech guy, right? Now let's talk about criminal procedure. I'm his lawyer. Under Georgia law, I have to get a list of witnesses. What comes on the witness list? Correct. So I now have a list of witnesses. What is the first thing my clients always ask me before trial? Can I see a copy of the, why do you think that is? Right. Or kill them. I have a murder appeal right now where 13 days before trial, the dumbass made a recorded phone call putting a hit on the main witness. My client on appeal because he got life without parole because he put a hit on a witness. What do you think a jury's going to think? Oh, why would you put a hit on somebody if you didn't do anything? So yeah, my client's serving life without parole. It's a really fun appeal because, how do you argue about a hit? Anyway, let me bring that down to, so point being, even though you think that you're like in this little bubble of all I did was buy a few pills, you end up dealing with shit like that all the time. I will bring it down to another level. So I had a client who was a weed dealer. He got a call from a friend and he said, hey, my friend wants to buy weed from you. And so my client's like, cool. So they meet up. My guy sells him $40 worth of weed and gets $40 in cash. He goes to like a Quick Trip or something afterwards to spend the $40 that he just made. And he finds out that a $5 bill that this guy had given him was counterfeit. I had no idea they made counterfeit $5 bills. This is totally news to me. Anyway, this pisses him off because my client is a former blood member and a little bit weird about being disrespected. Okay, he's in his 30s now. Not cool about it. So he doesn't say anything, but he's pissed. Now, fast forward a month or two, and that guy now skips around the middleman and calls my guy directly and is like, yo, can I buy some more weed from you? And my guy's like, sure you can. Come on. So he says, meet me. You guys know where Windy Hill is in Cobb County? You know where it is, right? The Brave Stadium. You're from Cobb, right? The Brave Stadium, y'all. So we're not far from the Brave Stadium. He says, meet me in this cul-de-sac and call me when you get there. I'll come out. This guy comes over with a passenger in his car in the front seat. This guy's driving, gets there, calls my guy and says, hey, I'm here. My guy says, cool, I'll be right out. Walks out, walks up to the driver's side window. The guy rolls the window down and my client shoots him in the chest and kills him. Over $5 of a weed deal. And the dead guy didn't even know he had given him a counterfeit $5. Had no freaking idea. That guy's also doing life without parole. Did not win that appeal. So my point in all of this is, it seems like it's nothing to y'all. It's a $40 weed deal, or it's a pill. It seems small because you don't think outside that circle. And what I'm trying to tell you is when you find out there's a shit lot more going on, that's when you end up in my office. All right. So I'm just trying to give you guys a larger perspective of why this actually affects you. Okay, let's talk about parties and then we're going to talk about sex. Okay, parties, really quickly. Why do cops end up going to parties? Right. Number 2 reason? Well, yeah, that's what they're looking for, but y'all park like shit. Don't park in front of people's mailboxes. Don't block other people's driveways. Be smart and the neighbors won't call the cops. So really quick story about parties. My client was a senior in high school. He was at a party. The mom had thought she'd be like the cool mom where if you put your keys in the bowl, y'all can drink here. Well, got really loud. The cops come. My client's in the backyard with his buddies. The cops come in the front door. Everybody in the front, they're all getting MIPs left and right, because they've all got beer. My client thinks he's smart. Him and his buddies into the woods. Cops chase him, but they don't catch him. Problem is, though, remember the bowl with the keys? The cops are like, hey, everybody here, show us which keys are yours. And there were keys left. So the cops went, thank you very much. I'll take those down to the police station. My client, like an idiot, didn't get a lawyer and instead went to the police station to get his keys. And the cops went, oh my God, we're so glad to see you. Here's your ticket for obstruction for running from the cops. People in the house got an MIP. Kids outside got obstruction charges. MIP, diversion program. Write an essay, do some community service, take an alcohol course, dismissed. obstruction, not eligible for it. So that guy ends up with a misdemeanor right before he's going to college, and we're doing a dance to try to make sure that he can stay in school, okay? So parties can cause you trouble even when the cops don't end up catching you that night, all right? We're going to talk about sex in a minute, which is going to make everybody in here super uncomfortable. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you another story about a client I had to make sure you're paying attention. Joshua, I'll answer your question in just a second. I had a girl, went to a party. She wasn't having any fun. She wanted to go home. She was a senior in high school. She had gotten into Southern. She and her friend decide they want to go home. They don't have a ride, so they call their friend's older brother. He comes to pick them up. They are riding home. She's in the back seat of his pickup truck. They get blue lighted. They get pulled over. The cop walks up to the side of the car. The cop says, "Why?" Wants to search the car. Does she have to get out of the car?
Yeah.
Of course. What do the cops search in the car? Everything. What she didn't notice was the backpack that was at her feet when she was riding in the car, which contained, unfortunately for her, a shit ton of drugs and a loaded weapon. Brother had a side gig. So who went to jail? All of them. It took a very long time, almost a year, for me to convince the prosecutor that she had no idea what was going on, all right? But meanwhile, she's out on bond, she's on pretrial supervision, so she's getting drug tested and alcohol tested. She has to come back from Southern once a month to meet with a judge while we were trying to work this out. In the end, I'm able to convince them that she is indeed not a drug dealer and in possession of a weapon. But the problem didn't end there. When you are arrested, they search shit, including her purse. In her purse, when she was arrested, at the bottom of it, a single Xanax pill, one. Misdemeanor felony. Correct. She didn't have a prescription for it. Now, here's the crazy thing. She had been given that pill a ways back. Didn't want to take it because, thank God, she didn't want to die. So she doesn't take the pill. She threw it in her purse and completely forgot about it. That's possession, y'all. There's no way around it. It's her purse. It's her pill. So we had to do all sorts of crazy stuff to get her on probation, ruined her sophomore year in college. The reason I tell that story is because she didn't do anything wrong. She was sober. She wasn't driving. She got a ride home. She didn't take the pill. Should have flushed it. And she still ended up with a felony. That's what y'all need to think about. The shit that bites you in the ass when you least expect it, okay? Let's talk about sex, because I know that every guy wants to talk about sex with a woman they've never met who's 54 years old, but I'll go over this quickly. We don't touch girls under 16. No touchy, no touchy. It's so simple, okay? The age of consent in Georgia is 16. What that means is, I don't care if this girl makes a videotape for you that says, I consent to have sex with him. I know at your age, I was never a teenage boy, but at your age, a girl wanting to have sex with you is better than like 100 Christmases. I understand that, but I am telling you it is not worth going to jail. We don't, wow. That was so perfectly timed. I can't even. So that's never happened in all the times I've done that. That's so great. Was that like applause? That's amazing. This is the best day of my life now. Okay. Wow. Thank you very much. Okay. So even if a girl makes a video saying that she consents, if she gets an affidavit and has it notarized, it doesn't matter. Girls under 16 cannot consent. No touchy. Very simple. Most of the time it's a felony. Depending on your ages, it could be a misdemeanor. Easy peasy. I'll move on. Number two. First of all, let me just tell you this from the standpoint of all women. We don't want dick pics. I promise you. No girl has ever made a decision based on this. Never one time. It's icky, don't do it. It's also porn, and it's also a felony. And to flip that to another side, getting nudes from a girl, you are now in possession of child porn. Now we've stepped into the really, really ugly deep end of the pool, okay? If a girl sends you nudes or one of your idiot friends sends you that, there is only one thing you can do immediately. Why? I'm gonna tell y'all a fun story, okay? When somebody in your circle at school gets caught with shit on their phone, the cops, you think it's deleted off your phone, but it's not. Okay? So what happens is the cop gets the phone. They don't need your password, by the way. They have software that pulls everything off the phone. It's called Celebrite. So now you're in my office well, let's skip that. The problem is when they got that whatever picture from whomever, they sent it to a whole bunch of y'all. And now y'all are in my office because when the cops got the first phone, you know what they saw? Everybody that he sent it to. So now they've got your phone and you're in my office and they've downloaded your whole phone. Your whole phone. Your images, your text messages, your search history. And mom and dad are in there too. So yes, does that mean I know what kind of porn you like to watch? Yes, I do. Do your parents want to know what kind of porn you watch? Probably not. Mom's not going to be too happy about that. I had a gangbanger who watched tranny porn, and boy, was that a fun conversation. So my point is this. If you are the recipient of anything from a girl, nudes, I don't care how old she is. I strongly recommend you delete them because the cops are going to see where that stops, okay? They're going to look at your phone and see, they're going to go down the line and see what everybody did with it. And the ones that moved it on, you guys are committing felonies. Do you understand the concept of child porn? Child porn is so bad and so dangerous. By the way, you can end up on the sex offender registry over this. Child porn is so bad and so dangerous that when I have child porn cases, I can't even get the discovery to see it because I can't possess it as a lawyer. I have to go to the prosecutor's office to see it, okay? This is the area of the world you do not want to be fooling around in. Delete it. That shit has no business being on your phone. You will thank me later, all right? Last thing I want to tell you, and then I'll answer your questions. I told you I have 2 kids. I let my 18-year-old daughter, does y'all know where Tulane is? Yeah, like the most fun school ever. I let her go there for 4 years, unsupervised. I got a son at Texas A&M. I am more worried about my son and his safety than I was ever worried about my daughter. Why? Because girls lie. About once a year, I get a guy who comes to me and says, a girl accused me of raping her and I did not do it. And I believe them. I had a guy met a girl actually at the Braves on the Battery. They went back to her house. They had sex. They got done having sex. They were sitting on the couch talking and he said, you need to leave because my girlfriend's coming over, which is a really dumb thing to say. She went home and told people that he raped her. Did he rape her? Absolutely not. Good thing for us, his roommate was home the entire time and she didn't know it. He had his door closed. So, but did they interview him, talk to his parents, embarrass the shit out of him in the process? Yes. Another guy I know, and this is actually a kid I've known since he was like in preschool, went to a college out of state. He was at a fraternity. They were having a party. He lived at the fraternity, actually. He and a girl go upstairs to his room. They have sex. They come back down. The party's still going on. She leaves. He starts telling everybody. Unfortunately for him, dumbass that he was, her friends are still at the party. So they hear him telling everybody what just happened, and it gets back to her. She tells everybody he raped her. Never calls the cops. Small school, though, tells anybody on campus who would listen. Ends up finding out that my kid it wasn't my kid, but this kid that I knew, had gotten this amazing job for the summer in Texas. She called the company in Texas and told them that they had hired a rapist and they rescinded his job offer. To this day, she has never called the cops. It's a complete and total lie. But she liked being the victim. She was getting a shit ton of attention about being the victim. How do you fix that problem? You can't. You can't. Could you arguably sue her for libel? Yeah. Would you win? Probably not. Because there's no requirement that someone has to call the cops to prove rape. She can say all day long,